Take a second right now to just really look at your body. Wiggle a hand, take a sip of water, hold your breath for a beat, and then take a deep breath in. You know, these things feel so incredibly simple to most of us that we don't even give them a second thought. But every single movement you make, literally every day you live, is the result of this massively complex collection of systems working together in absolute perfection. You, my friend, are a magnificent beast. You are so much more complicated and polymorphously awesome than you probably even realize. Like, get this, did you know that by the time you reach old age, you're going to have shed over 50 kilograms of dead skin cells? That's literally 50 kilograms of tiny, dried-up pieces of yourself just drifting around your house, settling on your shelves, and feeding entire colonies of dust mites. You aren't just a person, you're your own little world.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the magnificent, complex science of us. We're going to decode the very blueprint of the human body, figuring out exactly how we function, how we manage to stay alive, and we'll retrace the bizarre, sometimes super dark, and honestly highly cinematic journey that humanity had to take to figure all this out in the first place. Let's kick things off with Section 1, A Long and Secret History. For a very long time, understanding the human body was this incredibly dark, secretive, and highly controversial affair. We really only came to understand the living body by studying dead ones. But for centuries, human dissection was strictly taboo. It's like something straight out of a movie. Back in the 2nd century, the Greek physician Galen literally had to guess at human anatomy by performing vivisections on pigs. Fast forward to the 15th century, and you've got Leonardo da Vinci sneaking around with cadavers, sketching his beautifully detailed anatomical drawings, well, right up until the Pope found out and put a hard stop to it. By the 17th and 18th centuries, the taboo kind of started to lift, and certified anatomists were doing dissections that were so popular they actually became ticketed public events. Famous artists like Michelangelo and Rembrandt would even show up. But as you can imagine, this massive craze created a really dark underground market. Grave robbing became a highly lucrative, almost legal profession. It got so completely out of hand that in 1832, Britain finally stepped in and passed the Anatomy Act, legally providing students with an abundance of cadavers, mostly honestly in the form of executed murderers. Thankfully, we have moved way past the days of grave robbing and relying on the gallows. Today, students of anatomy and physiology still use educational cadavers to learn firsthand exactly what's going on inside a human body. But it is completely legal, safe, and ethical. These bodies are provided by people who voluntarily donate their remains to science. It's an incredibly selfless gift, and it's absolutely crucial for allowing the study of human life to continue safely.
Moving right along to Section 2, Form Dictates Function.
Okay, let's dive into this. What did centuries of studying all those cadavers actually teach us? Well, it revealed the absolute core rulebook of our physical existence. The difference between two deeply intertwined disciplines. Anatomy is all about structure, so what your body physically is. Physiology, on the flip side, is about function, what your body actually does. Together, they decode the science of us, showing exactly how our physical parts unite to keep us alive. You literally cannot separate the two.
The biggest idea we see over and over again in the human body is structural complementarity. Basically, form dictates function. Think about your heart for a second. Blood flows in one specific direction through it simply because the physical form of its valves physically blocks the blood from going backward. It's like a one-way door. In the same way, your bones are hard and rigid, which is exactly the specific form they need to have so they can protect and support all your soft, squishy internal parts.
Which brings us to Section 3, the organization of life. Now we're going to build the body from the ground up, starting with the roughly 7 octillion atoms that make up a single human being. Yes, 7 octillion. We start with atoms, which build molecules, which eventually build cells, the smallest units of life. And cells vary wildly depending on their job. A tiny red blood cell is just 5 micrometers across, while a single motor neuron can run a full meter, from your big toe all the way up to your spine. Similar cells then group together to form the next level, tissues, like muscle or nerve tissue. 2 or more tissues combine to form organs, like your heart, liver, or lungs. Then, those organs work together to form organ systems, like your stomach and intestines uniting to process a burrito from your plate to, well, the toilet. And finally, all these complex levels combine to form the highest level of organization, the complete organism, which is you.
Next up is Section 4, Homeostasis, Maintaining Balance.
Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is that all those octillions of atoms and trillions of cells are working continuously toward one single massive goal, homeostasis. It's basically the ability of living systems to maintain stable internal conditions no matter what crazy external changes are happening around you. Your everyday survival relies on maintaining this incredibly delicate balance of materials and energy. You need the exact right amount of blood, water, nutrients, and oxygen. Your body temperature has to be perfect, your blood pressure must be just right, and waste has to be managed efficiently. Every single thing must remain perfectly balanced for you to stay alive.
To really understand why this matters, let's look at a totally extreme, sudden scenario. What happens if your arm just falls off? Boom, gone. If nothing is done to treat an injury that severe, you bleed to death, right? But medically speaking, on a cellular level, what does that actually mean? What is the actual mechanism causing the death?
The answer basically comes down to one equation. Lost homeostasis equals death. The actual cause of death isn't simply missing an arm. It's that the massive wound causes a drastic drop in blood pressure. Because of that pressure drop, your blood fails to deliver oxygen throughout your body. And without oxygen, your cells can't process energy, so they die. You can live a long, completely healthy life without an arm, but you absolutely cannot live without blood pressure. That extreme, irreversible loss of homeostasis is the true ultimate cause of every single death, from hypothermia all the way to starvation.
And that leads us to Section 5, the map of the human body.
Because the body is so highly interconnected and a disruption in one area can totally destroy homeostasis everywhere else, medical professionals need a highly precise verbal map to navigate it. A surgeon isn't going to operate just because the doctor says they have a stomachache. So let's look at how we divide this map. First, imagine the body in the standard anatomical position. Standing erect, facing forward, arms at the sides, palms forward. From there, we use planes to slice it. The sagittal plane divides the body vertically into left and right. The frontal plane divides it vertically into front and back. The transverse, or horizontal plane, divides top and bottom. We also categorize the main body regions. Your axial part is your core, so head, neck, and trunk. And the appendicular parts are your appendages, the arms and legs attached to that core.
So, let's quickly learn the compass directions of this medical map. Everything at the front of your body is considered anterior or ventral. Everything at the back is posterior or dorsal. So your eyes are anterior, but your spine is posterior. To get more specific, you'd say your sternum is anterior to your spine, but your heart is posterior to your sternum. For top and bottom, we use superior or cranial for structures that are higher up, and inferior or caudal for structures that are lower down. This creates a really clear visualization. Your jaw is superior to your lungs because it sits above them, while your pelvis is inferior to your stomach because it sits below it. And this brilliantly illustrates how we describe things relative to the absolute center of the body. If you imagine a midline running straight down the axis of a body, parts closer to that line are medial. Parts farther away from the midline are lateral. So your arms are lateral to your heart, but your heart is medial to your arms.
Now, when we talk specifically about your limbs, the appendicular parts of your body, the terminology changes just a little bit. We use proximal for areas closer to the center trunk and distal for areas further away. So your knee is proximal to your ankle because it's closer to your body's main axis, but your wrist is distal to your elbow because it's further away from the center.
Okay, let's bring it all together and put this verbal map to the test with a quick story. Imagine I'm eating a giant club sandwich, and I get so distracted I accidentally swallow the frilly wooden toothpick whole. It gets lodged inside me, I get an x-ray, and my doctor needs to tell the surgeon exactly where to operate. Using anatomical language, she definitely wouldn't just say it's somewhere in the chest. She would say it's along the midline, posterior to the heart, anterior to the vertebrae, inferior to the collarbone, but superior to the stomach. By using this precise map, the surgeon knows exactly where to look, right in the esophagus.
And that exactitude, all those highly specific terms, are exactly what save lives when homeostasis is on the line. Today, we mapped out the wild, cinematic history of anatomy, the core rule that form dictates function, the delicate, vital balance of homeostasis, and the very precise language of the body. You truly are a magnificent beast, infinitely complex, and just beautifully organized. So I will leave you with this final thought. What mystery of your own magnificent beast will you